Welcome to ESPN's presentation of the Super Four of basketball from Santa Fe, Argentina. Tonight's first game is a third-place affair featuring Venezuela and New Zealand. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman. Tonight's game coming to you from Union Arena, where both these teams came off losses yesterday, but they did it in very different ways. Venezuela looked quite old. They lost a couple guys due to injury and were never in the game against Argentina. And on the other hand, New Zealand gave Brazil quite a run.
Yeah, New Zealand hung in there with Argentina. I mean, I'm getting confused already, Mark.
Brazil, you mean?
With Brazil right away and throughout the whole game, and they made a run at the end and played very well. They don't dazzle you with any athleticism, yet they play smart basketball and they keep hanging around, and that's always a dangerous team.
They were two very different semifinals yesterday. Brazil actually had an 11-point lead with about 2.5 minutes left, but New Zealand got it within 2 before Brazil hung on. As for Argentina, they just came out, put on a professional effort in, and dominated Venezuela from the get-go. Ended up with leads of more than 40 points. It's a couple of points in the second half. Now, Tab Baldwin is hoping that his Tall Blacks from New Zealand are able to come up with a victory here in this Super Four as they get ready for the World Championships, which come up in the 19th of August. That's what this Super Four is part of, a little friendly warm-up to give 4 teams that are headed for the World Championships a little bit of a run before they get to Japan. So Venezuela and New Zealand will try to salvage their Super Four effort here in the third-place game. We'll have the starting lineups in the opening tip when we come back.
The Champions Tour presents the 2006 Greater Kansas City Golf Club.
Place game of the Super Four from Argentina on the way here on ESPN. Venezuela taking on New Zealand. Both these teams have qualified for the upcoming World Championships. But right now, the team that looks better suited to do a little bit of damage there are the team from New Zealand. As we look at Richard Lugo, he is the big man for Venezuela. A lot more pressure will be on him this evening as Venezuela will be forced to play without a couple of key players. Hector Romero dislocated his elbow in the very first play of the game in what was a very painful experience for both he and the Venezuelan team. He is obviously out of this ball game. And Oscar Torres, who only played a little bit in the first quarter last night and didn't play again, is out with a right knee injury.
And those are the two, essentially the two key players for Venezuela. And now you're asking guys like Victor Diaz to step up. And, you know, he's 38 years old, played a lot of minutes last night, and you just wonder about his ability to bounce back a day later. And it puts a lot more pressure on a guy like Tomas Aguilera, who was the bright light for Venezuela last night, and Richard Lugo. It's a tall task for Venezuela to try to defeat this team from New Zealand. And as I mentioned earlier, the team from New Zealand, they don't dazzle you, and they're not going to be more athletic than you are, but they play so well together and they play smart basketball. They don't beat themselves.
And that certainly should help them tonight. Venezuela just clearly was going to be overmatched against Argentina yesterday anyway, but they certainly did not give the an inspired effort per se. So let's see if they're able to come up with one tonight. They're certainly going to need it. You know that New Zealand is going to come out and execute. And they're the two coaches, Nestor Salazar from Venezuela and Tab Baldwin for New Zealand.
And anytime you're coming back the next night off a loss, you always wonder about your team's bounce back ability. And we'll find out pretty soon which of these two teams can bounce back from tough losses last night.
And obviously Venezuela in tough stead heading into the World Championships. They were 14th the last time we had it back in 2002. New Zealand coming off one of their best performances ever on the world stage, where they were in the semifinals in 2002. And Tab Baldwin will start Paul Hanair, Kirk Penny, Phil Jones, and Pero Cameron and Craig Bradshaw. Same lineup from last night, but he did get some great performances off the bench as well. Some inspired performances, particularly by some big men up front, so we expect to see them quite a bit throughout tonight's game.
And the key, though, I think, is Kirk Penny. He's the gun. He's the guy who can stretch the zones, and if he's making shots, it just makes the New Zealand team run that much more fluently.
And New Zealand wearing their white jerseys. Last night they were in their they're all black. Just a great slice of the New Zealand sporting culture there. Again, the rugby team is definitely more intimidating. What I'm amazed at is the opponent's team usually stands there and watches it and actually takes it in and accepts the intimidation attempt.
I think they're entertained by it more than anything else.
I certainly am.
Yep.
Well, the guards for Salazar tonight, Ernesto Mijares and Carlos Morris. Victor Diaz at small forward, and up front Thomas Aguilera will get the start alongside Richard Lugo. Aguilera came off the bench and immediately went into double digits last night in the first half, gave a pretty solid effort in what was a losing call and really an incredible blowout.
This will be a tough matchup for Venezuela because, again, New Zealand just works the ball so well and so patiently offensively. They move well without the ball, and they make open shots. And in Venezuela last night, for the most part, and again, it was a blowout, but they looked a little bit disheveled, a little bit undisciplined. And of course, playing into that was losing their top two players early on in the game in Hector Romero and Oscar Torres.
It's an all-Argentine officiating crew tonight. See if Venezuela can come back. This is both these teams are certainly not among the elites on the world stage, though they have qualified for the World Championships. And these are the kind of games and kind of opponents, both ways, that they're going to have to come up with victories against in the World Championships.
And you know, you mentioned they're not among the elite teams. And sometimes it's hard to get your game in gear when you're not playing against an elite team. But you're right, games like this are the games that really count, that you have to win.
Yep, so when they face someone else that's well down in the pecking order, then those are the games within the World Championships that they've got to win, put under their belt. And it would appear that New Zealand right now is better suited to do that. We'll have to see on the court tonight. Just about ready to tip off. That's Craig Bradshaw. Had a great night against Brazil, 16 points and 9 rebounds. And he is definitely coming along very nicely in his college basketball career in the United States, and also as a member of the national team. It was kind of a landmark victory for New Zealand earlier this month when they beat Australia on Australian soil for the first time ever. Bradshaw in that game put up 25 points and 8 rebounds. So he's got a couple of signature performances here and certainly growing.
And at 23 years old, he's one of the hopes for the future of New Zealand basketball.
Venezuela controls the opening tip. Wearing their maroon, they go right inside to Richard Lugo for the turnaround.
And Lugo's a big kid, and he likes to play more on the perimeter. He got the ball in the low block and wound up taking a fadeaway jump shot. Not really something you want to do if you want to establish yourself in the post early on. You want to catch and go right to the rim and hopefully draw a foul. This time, he did go to the rim a little bit better, and he finds himself on the free throw line.
And he's got the first point of the basketball game. 33-year-old veteran, big man, about 6'10". Last year playing for Delfines in the Venezuelan League. This year for Trotamundos. And one thing that is certain in the Venezuelan Professional League, there is an awful lot of player movement from year to year. If you're in that league for 10 years, you've probably played for just about everybody. Pull-up jumper for Phil Jones, and he puts New Zealand up. That's a 3.
Came off the screen nicely, and with that left-handed jump shot, difficult to guard.
Here's Lugo in a post-up on the low block, working against Bradshaw. Getting to the right hand.
Couldn't convert, but that's a nice move, and then he makes a mistake trying to go after the rebound. But I like the philosophy right off the bat. Go into the big guy, try to get him established early on, and see what happens. They've gone to him 3 times. He hasn't converted, but he's gotten to the free throw line. Straight man-to-man for Venezuela.
Paul Hadar, short on the jumper. Pero Cameron. He's already got good position after the rebound. Nice little drop step, and rejected by Lugo.
Cameron is not a whole lot of lift with Pero Cameron right here, but he uses that wide body, gets the shot off pretty easily, but Lugo comes from the weak side for the nice block. Maybe a couple of inches Cameron got off the ground. What do you think?
A couple. Just over a minute gone. And that corner jumper no good from Kirk Penny. Miharis
Nice
inside.
pass
Oh,
inside.
wide open.
Venezuela,
Easy layup.
so far early in this game, the difference between last night, I think Venezuela feels that they have a legitimate chance to win this game, and they seem to be more under control. Last night, it was pretty evident early on that they felt they had no chance against Argentina, and played that way.
Looked like they lost total contact with Tomas Aguilera.
And he's pretty active. He moves around pretty well and gets himself open quite often.
Greg Bradshaw gets on the board. 2-point lead for New Zealand. And here's Lugo again. He's going to get a lot of touches tonight, you would think. Again,
There you go.
going
That's
to
a
the
nice
basket
move.
and slams it home.
That's a nice, strong move by a veteran big guy against a younger, inexperienced defender. And right here, Lugo comes baseline, spins back, goes up strong against Bradshaw, gets the basket, and draws the foul. I mean, if he can do that consistently, they'll be in this game without any doubt.
Can't convert the three-point play. Cameron the rebound. 5-all, 2 minutes gone. Bradshaw. Hinar.
A lot of screens New Zealand sets, and they use them well against man-to-man.
Bradshaw on a post-up. Makes a nice move and blocked away, but they'll call the goaltend.
Well, Bradshaw tried to do a little back at you. And he was he made a nice move, and Lugo had to goaltend it.
4 points for Bradshaw. New Zealand's got the 2-point lead. Here's Diaz. First shot attempt. Turnaround won't go. Rebound to Bradshaw. Phil Jones open for the 3 in the corner. Aguilera rips the rebound.
Nice look inside.
Great position
And
for
Lugo.
Lugo. Battle of the big men right now. Lugo and Bradshaw.
And Lugo has been pretty successful. And again, I like the strategy going into the big fella virtually every time.
Kirk Penny the drive.
Nice drive, under control, used the glass, got it up high over the Venezuelan big guys.
Another easy entry inside, and a foul as Victor Diaz is going to go to the line.
Now, last night we saw New Zealand do a very effective job defensively against Brazil. Tonight, early on, we haven't seen that kind of intensity on the defensive end. Now, if you recall last night at timeouts, coach for New Zealand, Tab Baldwin, got all over his guys. So I would expect a timeout pretty soon on the New Zealand end, and Tab Baldwin to try to get the attention of his players on the defensive end.
Well, Diaz missed them both. Aguilera got the offensive rebound. Miharis enters down low for Lugo.
Now look at the weak side help.
Oh, he is playing outstanding
He
ball
is.
right now. He took that fadeaway the first time, Rick. Every other time, He's going right at the hoop.
And that's exactly what he should be doing. He's got a mismatch. I don't believe that Bradshaw can really stay with him. I don't think Bradshaw has the experience to stay with him, and Cameron doesn't have the athleticism to stay with him.
Bradshaw with his third hoop of the game. He's got 6 of the 11 New Zealand points. And a turnover. Mijares couldn't keep control of it. And 7 points, 7 of the 9 for Venezuela come from Richard Lugo.
Again,
Kirk Penny.
Yeah, you expect Kirk Penny to settle for that jump shot all the time, but that is not the case. He the last couple of times drove it to the rim.
You know what? I think that was Phil Jones. This is Penny here with the steal. They look a little similar.
Yeah.
One's righty, one's lefty, but Jones took it with his right hand. This is Penny again. Kicks it out for Jones on the drive. Goes to the left, blocked by Lugo.
Lugo's been terrific early on.
New Zealand got the 4-point lead.
And you know what? It's an amazing thing, Mark. When you get your big guy the ball early and often,
he gets excited.
He does get excited, and he gets things done. And he runs the floor. You see him blocking shots, getting rebounds. When you get your big guy the ball,
Cameron with the 3.
And the big guy will do good things for you if you let him see the pill every so often. And they're letting him see the pill all the time.
He's got 9 of their 11 points. That's Thomas Aguilera rattles in a 3. Back to a 2-point game.
And if Lugo is delivering on the inside, it means New Zealand's going to have to sag to give some help, and the perimeter shots for Venezuela will be there.
Pero Cameron, back-to-back 3s for the big man.
He's got a nice shooting touch. Again, he doesn't rely on getting up in the air, but he has a pretty quick release.
Already been more productive than he was in all of last night's loss to Brazil. Carlos Morris going to the turnaround and gets the roll.
And they are isolating and posting at every opportunity, and they realize they have an advantage athletically.
Offensive foul there. Pero Cameron clearing out a little too much space.
Just using that wide body a little bit.
And we got a substitution up off the bench for New Zealand. Looks like Casey Frank up into the ball game, and Carlos Morris for Venezuela hits the bench as they do their first substitution of the ball game.
And Casey Frank's one of the energy guys for New Zealand. He came off the pine last night and was instant energy for New Zealand.
Under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. 3-point lead for Venezuela.
Now New Zealand's in a 2-3 zone that they played mostly last night.
Diaz missed badly in the lane. And a foul as Phil Jones went to the baseline. That'll be picked up by Alejandro Barrios, just checked into the game. New Zealand ball underneath.
Ooh, Phil Jones was wide open underneath.
Kirk Penny breaking it down, sets up Bradshaw, and he scores over Lugo.
I like Bradshaw, Mark. He's pretty alert, pretty aware, makes good decisions in the right place at the right time. A young player, but I think he's got a future.
Certainly one of the players to watch in his Big South Conference coming up for this season in his senior year at Winthrop. And meanwhile, Richard Lugo continues to be the centerpiece of everything that's going right for Venezuela. He and Bradshaw are having quite a battle. 9 points for Lugo early, 8 for Bradshaw.
Good coaching decision, really, by Nestor Zelar.
That's right.
He really did a good job preparing his team, saying, let's get it inside. Lugo has an advantage athletically. Let's get it to him and go with him. And as long as New Zealand stays man-to-man, they'll continue to go to him. At least in theory. Sometimes players get thoughts, and they don't always follow what the coach wants.
1 of 2 for Lugo there. He's got 10 points, leading scorer in the game. Casey Frank gives to Phil Jones. Open look at the three, wouldn't go. This is Carlos Cedeno running the point now for Venezuela.
New Zealand back in a man-to-man. And every time they go man-to-man, it's a good opportunity to isolate Lugo in the block.
Barrios missing on the three. Penny the rebound.
Now, why take that outside shot? Lugo kicked it out. You could have gone right back to him.
Bradshaw the pull-up. And rebound to Barrios. 2.5 to play in the first quarter. Every trip, Lugo getting a touch, and he's done something with it. This time leans in and draws the foul on Bradshaw. Now Bradshaw's got a little problem. He's got two.
You know, it's a nice move by Lugo, and it looked almost as if he was going to settle for that turnaround jump shot. And I was going to jump all over him if he did, but he didn't. He went right, he dipped the shoulder and went to the basket.
For Venezuela, it's been all Richard Lugo. New Zealand has no answer for it, but they lead in the first quarter. The ESPN's presentation of Super 4 basketball from Argentina, third place game. Ready to go tonight. The Tall Blacks of New Zealand facing Venezuela, and they've had their hands full with this guy.
He traveled there.
Did.
He shuffled the puppies a little bit, but you love the effort and the understanding that he'll be more productive if he takes it to the basket rather than settling for that outside shot. You look at yesterday, he got 8 points for the game. He's already got 10.
Yeah, he's been a completely different player. He had 7 rebounds to go along with it yesterday, so he's well on his way in the first half to just obliterating that production against Brazil.
And he's making good decisions and smart decisions, and he's not settling for jump shots. He's working a little bit harder to get the ball to the rim. He's just got to make some free throws.
Yeah, he's getting to the line a lot, but leaving a lot of money on the table, missing his free throws.
Yeah, he's not quite sure how he wants to approach these free throws.
And he missed them both. Casey Frank the rebound. Coming up on 2 minutes left in the first quarter. 4-point lead for New Zealand. Looking to add to it. Mark Dickel hits the three.
And a lot of what New Zealand is doing offensively is revolving around perimeter picks. And they have good outside shooters, so it makes sense. They don't really have any inside guys.
Tough drive won't go for Barrios. The rebound to Tony Rampton, just into the game for New Zealand. Quick ball moving around the perimeter. Rampton didn't want it. Dickel goes to the corner. That's Phil Jones. Had a good look, but couldn't hit it.
Very willing.
Got a foul on Rampton.
Very willing, New Zealand is, to make the extra pass and to look for the better perimeter shot.
New Zealand basketball coming up on 1.5 minutes to play in the first. This is Dickel. Ball was tipped by Frank, kept alive. Another chance. Phil Jones, no good on the three ball, and a loose ball foul will go against Casey Frank. He threw Thomas Aguilera to the floor.
Yeah, Aguilera was actually blocking him out, and he just moved him right out of the picture. And right in front of the referee, and you cannot get away with that. Richard Lugo's coming out for a break. Man, I wouldn't take him off the floor. I'd leave him out there.
Yeah, he's going to have a break coming up, right, between quarters.
I would leave him out there as well as he's playing. Just get everything he's got to give for as long as he can do it. And then still leave him out there. It's really funny. When a player's going real good, they never get tired.
Aguilera hits the first. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works.
And I can guarantee you Lugo is energized because he's seeing the ball often. He's being productive. And I'm sure he did not welcome this break.
Aguilera will come out for Venezuela. A little bit of pressure off the inbound.
Now we'll see who steps up offensively now for Venezuela with basically their two top offensive players on the pine.
Already down 5. And a foul out front. Looks like they got Carlos Cedeno.
Now, so far, I don't think this qualifies as a friendly, Mark. These guys are going at it a little bit.
They are battling. Don't want to finish 4th in a 4-team tourney.
No.
That's last.
There's no pride in that.
And Tony Rampton, the biggest man on the New Zealand roster, a 7-footer.
A little pressure displayed by New Zealand.
1 minute to go in the first. Cedeno.
2-3 zone.
Broke down the defense and laid it off. Barrios couldn't knock it in, and neither could Bayona, who actually put the ball pinned between the rim and the backboard.
You know, against a 2-3 zone, everybody thinks that you can't penetrate, but if you can get by those two outside guys and get into the paint, it creates havoc.
Absolutely. Casey Frank, trouble with the handle inside, got it to Rampton on the baseline.
A little out of his range. Uh-oh. Nope.
And going to be Venezuela basketball. 30 seconds to go in the first. Ball already out of bounds at that point. So timeout on the floor. Santa Fe, Argentina, where Venezuela and New Zealand are doing battle. Venezuela looking much more energized than one night ago, but still trailing at the hands of the Tall Blacks, 26-19.
No blinking, flinching, or twitching.
There's no room in there. There's no space.
Not when victory is measured by millimeters.
We call it the madhouse. Great comeback.
Competition is dead brilliant. And if they're on target, the Yanks may beat the Europeans at their own game with $1 million US at stake. The World Series of Darts, Friday, only on ESPN.
First quarter action of the third-place game of the Super 4 from Santa Fe, Argentina. The Argentine national team hosting this Super 4, a little warm-up prelim towards the World Championships, which begin on August 19th. And Venezuela fell at the hands yesterday in the semifinals to Brazil. New Zealand fell, Venezuela fell badly at the hands of Argentina, and New Zealand fell in a very close game to Brazil. So these guys battle it out for third place. Argentina and Brazil will renew their continental rivalry later on this evening. You'll see it here on ESPN. And a jump ball as Kirk Penny was able to tie up Alejandro Barrios.
And Barrios was not accustomed to handling the ball out that far from the basket. And New Zealand did a nice job of trapping and using the sideline as another defender.
That trapping continuing here as Rampton nearly came up with the steal. 17.6 left in the first quarter.
Nice strategy. Throw a trap at him, catch him off guard, and hopefully create some turnovers.
Air ball, and Casey Frank got the rebound. That was Mijares. And a foul against Herbert Bayona on the drive.
And just New Zealand doesn't run the break all that often, but if given the opportunity, they will take advantage of it. And if they've got numbers, they'll come at you on a break.
Dylan Bocher is a 30-year-old, about 6'5".
Another energy guy for New Zealand off the bench.
Played well yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
He and Casey Frank came off the bench, and Really picked up the intensity.
Looks like a lane violation, but he made the free throw.
So his first points of the game, and that'll do it. As Venezuela can't get a shot up in the final seconds of the first quarter.
Good close, though, by New Zealand in the last few minutes of the quarter.
So New Zealand looking to salvage a victory in the Super 4. They've got the advantage after one quarter in the third-place game over Venezuela. This is Super 4 basketball on ESPN. The third-place game reaching the start of the second quarter. New Zealand with a very impressive showing of the 28-19 advantage. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman. As we look at some of the better moments, as Perro Cameron actually hit a couple of threes.
Yeah, he's got the ability to step out, as do most of the New Zealanders, and drop that perimeter shot. Mark Dickel did it just then, and certainly Kirk Penny shoots it, and Phil Jones shoots it.
And what a turnaround shooting three-pointers. They're 4 for 9, as opposed to 9 for 40 against Brazil. Much better percentage. Now Dicko missed a point-blank layup, and going down, this is a terrible sign for Venezuela. They already have 2 stars injured, and holding his right leg is Richard Lugo, who is the star of today with 10 first-quarter points.
Absolutely. They can ill afford to lose this young man. And it didn't look like there was any contact. He came over to provide some weak side help. You see it here, but we can't see what happened. Maybe just oh, he did get bumped by Dickel.
Staying out on the floor.
Hopefully it's just a Charlie horse.
It'll feel better when he gets his next shot.
Or his next touch. Anyway.
Victor Diaz out of the double team.
New Zealand back in that 2-3 zone.
Oh, nice little move there.
Yeah, nice little runner.
That was Cedeno.
Venezuela staying straight man-to-man virtually the entire first half thus far, the first quarter.
9 points has been the largest lead of the game.
And coincidentally, New Zealand stretched the lead when Venezuela took Richard Lugo out of the game. And, you know, it's interesting because coaches generally follow a substitution pattern. And my thinking is that the flow of the game has to dictate your substitution pattern. And if a guy's going good, even though it's supposedly time to take him out, leave him in there. Absolutely. And let him keep going. Let the flow of the game dictate your substitutions.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Well, but sometimes what happens when you do that is guys' egos get bruised, and you know, in today's game, coaches pay more attention to soothing players' egos than they should, or than they did in the old days.
That's for sure.
They've gone to Richard Lugo a couple times, and he has yet to find that groove that he had in the first quarter. And again, sometimes sitting out, and you can lose that groove.
Penny on top. Dickel in the lane. Little guy finding Casey Frank. Frank goes to the left-hand hook. Nice move for Casey Frank.
Nice ball movement, good patience by New Zealand. Found the open man. Casey Frank came into the paint, took his time. Nice lift fake, went with the left hand.
And a foul on Venezuela. Looks like they're going to get Pablo Machado.
Now he just backed his man down and sealed a little bit too aggressively. Questionable call, though. You know, from a coaching point of view, you teach your players to do that, essentially.
Kirk Penny finds Rampton. Trouble with the handle. Got it up, and Lugo ripped it down.
You know, it's every time that New Zealand puts the ball on the floor, virtually no matter who it is, they give you a little lift fake before they go up for a shot.
Well, things starting to really break down now for Venezuela. Down 9.
Yeah, this is a crucial stretch for Venezuela in this game. They can this game can get out of hand quickly, or if they play smart and go with what worked for them in the first quarter, they can get themselves back in it in a hurry.
Here's Rampton, good position down low. Diaz flop, Rampton goes to the turnaround.
And that flop was just a little too obvious.
Bocher missing inside, and Lugo the rebound.
Lugo's got a bunch of rebounds today.
Well, that he does. He has been quite a force on both ends. Mijares on the penetration and got it off to Diaz, who was fouled down low.
And good under control penetration. And the dish to Diaz. Look at that. We saw Casey Frank hold on a little bit and then back up. And he'll qualify for an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, absolutely. Pedro Cameron is back in. Their offensive rebound. Up and in for Aguilera. That gives him 9 points on the day.
And I question almost any perimeter shot that Venezuela takes. They don't have great shooters from out there, and they have a couple of guys who can get it done on the interior. Guys like Aguilera and Lugo. So reason says you just keep going to those guys time and time again, every time down the floor, until New Zealand does something to stop them.
That foul was on Ben Hill getting his first action. Did not play in the first game yesterday. Picks up his first foul. And inbounds there to Paul Hanar. 7-point lead for New Zealand, that is.
A little trap by Venezuela, and now they're in a 2-3 zone.
Get it to the free throw line. Turnaround jumper goes for Pyro Winatana.
New Zealand's a tough team to play zone against because they move the ball so well, and they have enough guys who can make that perimeter shot. And if you're going to play zone, you better extend it out wide.
Back to a 9-point lead.
There are too many openings there for guys who can shoot the basketball. Rampton's not one of them, and I don't know what he's doing out there on the perimeter.
On the turnover, Hanar will pick up the foul. Mijares had the advantage, and Hanar with a little bump. Here's another look. Well,
inadvertent contact, I think. I don't think Hanar intentionally went to block.
It wasn't any one guy's ball more than it was the other. Just two guys going hard there.
Now New Zealand in the man-to-man. Let's see if Venezuela goes inside with the ball.
Ball was kicked, intended for Diaz. Venezuela going to inbound underneath.
Still man-to-man for New Zealand.
Cedeno looking for Lugo. He's got him against Rampton.
But Rampton pushed him out a little bit further than Lugo wanted to be.
They defended him very well there. Oh, and then they could not come up with the rebound. Rampton and Penny both had position for it, and neither one came up with it.
What a defensive postman wants to do is maneuver his man away from his comfort zone, out a step or two further than what he's used to, so it throws his timing off. And he has to do that before the offensive postman catches the ball.
It's Winatana. Kirk Penny. Lugo, oh, he got it taken away by Winatana.
Yeah, he sort of mistimed that jump.
Winatana drives and kicks out. New Zealand will reset. An air to the high post. Ben Hill sets a screen for him. Now it's Penny. Hill cutting. Boy, all kinds of room to move in the middle of that Venezuela defense.
Well, the middle is wide open against any zone, but it's more so against the Venezuelan zone. To be honest, I'm not quite sure why Venezuela is playing a zone defense. Maybe it's to rest some tired legs.
Penny missed the three. Big rebound for Aguilera in traffic. Coming up on the halfway point to go in the second quarter. Carlos Morris missed the open three. High to try to grab that rebound was Aguilera. Could not control it, came down a little awkwardly. The Venezuela ball. With a 9-point lead. Haven't had to been able to get it into double digits yet. But have led comfortably throughout most of this first half. Phil Jones missing the three. Tip back won't go. Here comes Mijares the other way. No numbers. He takes it in anyway and gets the roll plus the foul. Ernesto Mijares will go to the line for a three-point opportunity. Paul Henara with the foul.
Mijares did a nice job that time. He waited. He slowed up just a bit right here, waited to see what he had coming with him, and also waited to see how Henare was going to play him defensively. And once he realized he didn't have a pass and Henare was giving him the baseline, he took it strong.
Mijares can't convert the three opportunity. Could be a closer game if Venezuela hit their free throws.
Exactly what I was thinking, Mark, that they just have shot themselves in the foot from the free throw line so far.
Winnetana split two defenders. They got him for the walk.
It's tough to split the two defenders and continue with the dribble. All you really want to do in that situation is make both players play you, and then you have openings.
So New Zealand turns the ball over. Second quarter action of this third place game in the Super 4 from Argentina. Venezuela trailing again.
ESPN brings you the best soccer action in the world. The UEFA Champions League.
Crowd on hand for this Super 4 matchup, the third place game, Venezuela and New Zealand. And of course, they'll squeeze in a few more people into these seats for the nightcap, where Argentina and Brazil will go for the Super 4 championship.
I think they'll be a little louder in the second game, don't you?
Absolutely. A little more at stake for the home fans in Santa Fe, Argentina. Craig Bradshaw played so well in the first quarter, but did pick up a couple of fouls trying to handle Richard Lugo, who had 10 first quarter points. Bradshaw had 8, and he may have to sit the rest of the half.
That's another thing, bringing that up, that I got to get on top of. It's standard procedure for almost all coaches that when a player picks up 2 fouls in the first half, they sit the rest of the half. I just don't buy it. If a kid's experienced enough, if he's playing for you, he's got to be smart enough not to pick up that third foul. And if he does, then you take him out. But you're losing a valuable player for a good chunk of time.
Ben Hill missing on the three. Lugo rips another rebound.
And again, it's another situation where the flow of the game has to dictate how you coach.
Miguel Mariaga just in, wearing number 11. He's got the ball in the cut to the basket for Venezuela. Fouled by Tony Rampton.
Now, in defense of Tab Baldwin, today, his team is up. So he may have the luxury of sitting Bradshaw for the rest of the half. But I can't remember too many players who have sat a lot of minutes in the first half because of fouls and come on in the second half and been as productive as they should be.
You're right, it definitely does interrupt the flow for them. And they sit all that time, come back.
It's hard because they know when they come out on the floor, if I pick up my third foul early in the third quarter, I'm done for the game.
They've already been sent that message.
Absolutely, loud and clear. So they become very tentative and non-productive.
6-point game, Venezuela hanging in there. They haven't trailed by double digits yet. Oh, what a dish from Winnetana as he found Ben Hill. Now Hill will go to the free throw line.
And that time he was able to split the seam of the zone and get into the paint. If you can't split the seam, make the 2 perimeter defenders play you. And then you've got an advantage somewhere else on the floor. Move the ball, you get a wide open shot.
There's Ben Hill stroking the first. 6'5".
Wide body.
Missed the second. And a strong rebound from Mariaga. 3.5 minutes to play in the first half.
New Zealand doing a nice job changing up on the defenses, going from a 2-3 zone to a man-to-man and back again.
And a foul inside. Hill getting tangled up with Mariaga, it looked like. Hill will pick up the foul. Mariaga at the free throw line.
Venezuela's got to start making some free throws.
They do. Mariaga's only 22 years old. 6'9".
Not a whole lot of young guys on this Venezuelan roster.
No, they're not. He and Cedeno.
Yeah, 21 and 22.
Yep. After that, get up towards middle age from a
basketball yeah.
standpoint.
Several guys in their 30s.
Rampton had it blocked by Mariaga. It'll stay New Zealand basketball. Kirk. Let's see, it's Phil Jones with the miss there.
With the left hand.
Nice job inside. Count the hoop. Rampton doing some yeoman's work inside. He'll have a chance for a three-point play.
Well, he did his work before the shot went up. He got great inside position, backed his way out, and the shot fell off the rim right in his direction.
And he gets the three-point play. 5 points for Rampton in the first half.
The pressure, exactly what New Zealand did at the end of the first quarter.
New Zealand dominating the backboards with a 10-rebound advantage in the first half. Lugo at the free throw line. Quick turnaround, and he's got it.
Now, he hadn't seen the ball for a few minutes, so as soon as he caught it, you know it was going up. Nice look inside. Rampton with good inside position. See, look at Rampton. He's got him sealed
right
deep.
Up. Yeah, when your head's under the rim, you're in trouble.
And I think that was due to Mariaga's inexperience.
4 rebounds to go along with the 5 points. Only 1 of 6 from the field. But the front line for New Zealand as an entire unit has started to assert itself after Lugo just dominated things in the first quarter with 10 of his 12 points. Bradshaw nearly matched him, but picked up the couple of fouls. And since New Zealand's gone to the bench, they're pretty much taken back control of the paint.
Once again, that trap, that half-court trap by New Zealand. And back into a 2-3 zone.
Lob to the baseline, much too high for Mijares.
And it caught Venezuela by surprise. They really didn't know how to attack it.
Two minutes to go in the first half. Kirk Penny in the corner. Drives to the basket. And it was blocked by Lugo. The opening was to his left hand. He went back to his right, the strong hand, and Lugo was waiting. Ben Hill grabbed that rebound. Dickel finds Penny, back to Dickel. All the way across the court. And another 3 ball. That's Ben Hill. Now they finally got that double-digit lead. It's 11.
And it's really important for Venezuela to keep that lead in single digits from a mental perspective going into the half.
High post Lugo. Lobbing inside and laying it in. Mariaga.
Nice high-low action from Lugo to Aguilera.
Inside a minute to go. Dickel, nice pass for
Another
Hill,
block.
who's blocked.
Another block by Lugo.
Boy,
He's got to be about 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's just sealing things off in there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Good decision, though. Good decision. Put it on the floor, took it to the hoop under control, got himself to the free throw line. He's been active. And again, you give him the ball early, let him do his thing offensively, and he'll give it to you defensively. That's age-old.
A lot of different ways to describe that, but I like Shaq's description. You got to feed the big dog if you want him to guard the house.
Absolutely.
Lugo is, has been fed, and he is the guard dog right now.
I mean, those big guys don't ask for much. They just want a taste of the sugar every so often, and they'll cover your behinds all night long.
There's the foul on Lugo as he got up fake. Phil Jones. He earned those 2 free throws. A shot to the head.
You know, when you're going against a shot blocker, you want to do one of 2 things. You want to either give him a lift fake, as Jones did right there, and you know if you give him the lift fake, you're going to take the brunt of the contact. Or the other thing you want to do is you want to go right into the shot blocker's chest and take his shot blocking ability away from him.
Lugo's picked up 2 fouls now, and in the final moments of the first half, there's no sense risking him.
Right.
Phil Jones, not really hitting from the field. He's on 1 of 6 from 3-point range. Trying to get 2 points here from the line. Lives in Dunedin. Playing for the Nelson Giants. 10-point game. Final half a minute of the first half. New Zealand making Venezuela spend some time just getting into their offense.
Venezuela, again, not quite sure how they want to attack this defense.
Oh, tough 3 for Mijares. 10 seconds to play in the half. A 7-point game.
Not the ideal shot, but it was effective. Good extra pass right there.
Phil Jones had an open look. Hit it with 3.8 left. Back to a 10-point game.
Oh, steal.
Oh.
Oh.
And that one will go to. The clock may have started a little bit late. And as a result, New Zealand will get the final word.
Ben Hill, after not playing last night, nice job in here in the second quarter.
In 3.8 seconds, is there enough time to catch, miss a 3-pointer, get a rebound, and score? Apparently there is.
I guess there is.
We'll see if that last basket stands, but it's a finish with a flourish at the end of the first half for New Zealand. They've got the double-digit advantage over Venezuela. Halftime of the third-place game. Super 4 basketball from Santa Fe, Argentina, and Venezuela down by double digits at the hands of New Zealand, and Venezuela playing a bit short-handed this evening. There's no doubt about that. They're playing without 2 normal starters, including their best all-around player in Oscar Torres, and one of their top men as far as guys who can attack the basket in Hector Romero. Last night in the opening moments of the game, and the very first possession, in fact, for Venezuela in their loss to Argentina, Hector Romero drove aggressively to the baseline, encountered Manu Ginobili, who made a pretty decent block and kind of carried through to commit the foul. And it sent Romero sprawling to the floor very awkwardly and landing on that left elbow underneath his body. He has since been diagnosed with a dislocated left elbow, so he will certainly not be playing. Venezuela having their troubles in the first half against New Zealand, not nearly as badly as yesterday against Argentina, but right now it is New Zealand with the double-digit lead. And just a little clarification at the end of the first half, that final basket did count, but the prior basket was actually a 2-pointer and not a 3, so there we sit at 47-36, and an 11-point advantage, which matches the largest of the game for New Zealand. They got to get me one of them Super 4 shirts.
Yeah, that's kind of cool look right there.
Glitter, those rhinestones. Whatever, a must-have. Well, Venezuela was a little bit costly. Cost Venezuela 2 points. Just look at the two-point shooting for now. 11 of 22 for Venezuela. Only 11 of 30 for New Zealand. They've hit 5 of their 15 three-pointers. But look at the free throws, Rick. That tells a huge story.
Absolutely. And the 11 for 30 from the floor for New Zealand, they take mainly perimeter shots. And in the first half, Venezuela shooting 11 for 22, going mostly inside. But the free throws, you can't miss 11 free throws in a half and expect to stay in the ball game. And they are being out-rebounded as well, 20 to 30.
So it all adds up to an 11-point advantage for New Zealand as they try to claim the third-place game in this Super 4 of 2006 from Santa Fe, Argentina. The host nation will be taking on Brazil in the championship game a little bit later on. Richard Lugo leads all scorers. Phil Jones, a nice first half with 9 points. Nobody in double digits yet for New Zealand. But Tony Rampton's got 7. All of 8 of Craig Bradshaw's came in the first quarter before the foul trouble. Aguilera with another solid game for Venezuela, got 9 points tonight. So we're getting ready for the start of the third quarter at Union Arena. And ESPN happy to be your home once again for the Super 4 from Argentina. And that fantastic national team of Argentina will be on display later on tonight in the championship game, taking on their continental rival Brazil. It'll be an electric atmosphere. But first, when we come back, we'll start the second half of the third place game, New Zealand and Venezuela. The Super 4 serving as a warm-up towards the World Championships. Coming in August in Japan, Venezuela and New Zealand have qualified, and of course Argentina and Brazil have. These are 4 that make up this year's Super 4. First, a look at the first round scheduled for New Zealand. A couple of tough ones to start off: Spain and Germany, then Angola, and host country Japan, and then Panama. So there's a chance for New Zealand to get a couple of victories in that preliminary pool. It is Group B that they play in.
And you're right, they have to get past the first 2, because those look like the 2 tough ones in that bracket.
I'm just noticing that. It's a red wine color for Venezuela.
Very nice.
Not red, not maroon, red wine. Underway in the third quarter, Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman, an 11-point lead for New Zealand. Digging in defensively to start the second half. Thomas Aguilera comes out shooting. He's got 11 now in the game.
Mainly an inside guy, showing his perimeter shooting ability. Still man-to-man for Venezuela.
Craig Bradshaw back in the game after the foul trouble from the first half. Mark Dickel getting the start at point. Dickel's had some tendonitis bothering him in the right knee, but getting more minutes tonight than has Paul Hanar. Last night it was the reverse. Bradshaw on top. Shot clock running down. 6 left. Still plenty of time. Phil Jones still can't find that shooting touch. And Richard Lugo pleading his case. The referees are from Argentina, so they understand Lugo's Spanish perfectly well.
Maybe they don't want to.
They were not impressed by his argument.
Now, see, Bradshaw sat most of the first half with those early fouls. And he just took a corner jump shot that was a little out of his range. And that's frustration. He wants to get it all back all at once. He wants to make up for that lost time quickly. And that's when young players get into more problems.
Phil Jones called for the foul off the ball. Just over a minute gone in the third quarter. little off balance for Aguilera there. Avoids stepping out of bounds, but barely. Victor Diaz to give it up.
He's been very quiet in this first half.
Now he's got it, faced up against Bocher. Lugo for three in the corner. Boy, that's not how they drew it up, that's for sure.
No, and not what you want your big guy to settle for. Nice pass.
Cameron can't convert inside. Another rebound for Lugo.
And again, I think Cameron was very aware of the shot blockers.
Victor Diaz. It's a 5-point game now, so New Zealand, who had an 11-point lead at the half. A little slow start. Catch and shoot for Victor Diaz. He is
Catch and shoot in rhythm.
He's been filling it up for years in the Venezuelan Professional League and as a national team member since way back in '92 on the national team, but he is a different player now at age 38. There's no doubt about it.
And I said at the top, it's very difficult for those 38-year-old legs to bounce back on the second night of 2 games. And we're seeing Victor Diaz be very quiet.
Good work on the offensive glass off the Jones miss. It was Bradshaw who crashed and popped it back in for the 7-point advantage.
Yeah, Bradshaw blocked out as if he were rebounding on the defensive end and found himself in terrific position.
He's got 10.
Now
They
double
up
and take the ball away from Lugo.
Lugo thought he was fouled.
And now I think he got hit with a tee. Again, then one of the adjustments that New Zealand has made at halftime when Lugo gets the ball in the block, they're going to double and sometimes triple team him. And it caught him by surprise, and he had the ball taken away from him. Frustration, he committed the foul and got hit with a tee.
So Jones converts the first of the free throws. It's in double digits now. He's done a great job at the free throw line. Got them both. And it's going to stay New Zealand ball.
And to compound the agony for Richard Lugo, he finds himself on the pine now.
3 fouls. 2.5 minutes gone in the third quarter. Phil Jones trying to create.
Hanley.
And who's at the front of the rim again? Craig Bradshaw has now got a dozen.
Well, Jones understood that Lugo was out of the game, and Lugo's the main shot blocker, so he's able to take the ball to the rim. And the fact that he missed, his teammate was in great position for an offensive rebound.
Diaz the miss from about 16.
Pickle just lost that ball.
And a foul going to the basket. Thomas Aguilera got hit.
There's Richard Lugo. Not too happy.
No.
Here's that play, the double trick. He might have got fouled. He might have got fouled, probably did get fouled, but then he reacts and commits a foul himself. Yells at the ref. Gets himself a tee. Finds himself on the bench. Not a happy camper right now. And they need him. Venezuela needs him on the floor.
Diaz thought he drew a foul as he threw that one up. No whistle. Pero Cameron tried a little touch pass, but put it right in the hands of Diaz for the turnover. Here's Diaz catching in rhythm and firing. The basket goes, but there's a whistle before or as it was happening away from the ball. It's going against Venezuela.
Well, take a look. Diaz in rhythm, catch and shoot. And we saw the little push off underneath as the shot was in the air.
It was Aguilera using that right arm to push off, and it happened just prior to the hoop, so there will be no basket there. Wave off the three. That hurts. Bradshaw, quick shot from on top. Oh, great work by Bocher inside. And he was hammered by Thomas Aguilera. It looks like they're going to call an intentional foul here. We could have 2 in the ball.
Wow. Aguilera acting out of frustration. He's going to find himself on the bench pretty quickly. Nice hustle. And that's an intentional foul, no doubt about it.
Pretty obvious there on the replay that was an intentional foul pretty much in any league you're going to see.
No question about it.
No attempt at the ball whatsoever.
Just a frustration foul.
So it'll be 2 and the ball.
Makes the 2. You can see it right there. No attempt at going for the ball. Just a forearm into the body.
6 minutes to play in the third quarter. A little update on Richard Lugo. It was his 3rd foul that he picked up, but remember, at international play, you pick up a personal. You pick up a technical, rather, counts as a personal as well, so he's now got 4.
Woohoo.
You talk about compounding the problem. A 13-point game now for New Zealand. And Lugo, you would think, unavailable for quite some time.
Well, if this thing gets out of hand, you almost have to go with him early and see what happens.
Yep.
Because it's safe to say they are not going to get back in this game without the presence of Richard Lugo.
It's a 9-0 run over 2 minutes now for New Zealand.
And they're not going to get back in this game launching early threes.
Diaz going to inbound. Wide open, Carlos Morris.
Because simply they don't have the shooters who can make those threes on a consistent basis.
Cameron steps into it. Oh, and hits.
Now, New Zealand does have the kind of shooters that you want from the perimeter.
That foul occurred as the ball was in the air, and it'll go against New Zealand. The basket's going to count. And the foul on Dylan Boucher. And a timeout on the floor as New Zealand starts to really grab hold of this game with a 17-point advantage over Venezuela.
Good round for Frazier. I am the king of the world.
59-42 now. New Zealand stretching their lead to the largest of the game in this third-place matchup with Venezuela, as they're really starting to tighten their grip on this one. Everything's starting to go their way, and Venezuela, well, it just gets more and more bleak. They're missing 2 starters coming into the game, and their best player remaining and best performer tonight is on the bench with 4 fouls. And we're still with plenty of time to play in the third quarter. Richard Lugo, the dominant force for Venezuela in this game, picked up his 3rd foul, argued about it, picked up a technical, which counts as his 4th personal. And now New Zealand's threatening to run away with this one.
And Venezuela's done a nice job hanging in there for the most part of this game. Now the lead can get stretched where it's insurmountable in the next couple of minutes if Venezuela isn't careful.
Well, it's Phil Jones that should be at the free throw line, and he is. Mark Dickel was out there, and they caught him. They said, no. Jones should be shooting.
Jones, pretty reliable free throw shooter, too.
And a foul out front on Mark Dickel.
They tried to slip through that high pick and got too close to the ball handler.
The New Zealand run is 13-0 right now, coming up on the halfway point of the third quarter.
And now New Zealand sitting back in that 2-3 zone, which is a smart coaching move. Force Venezuela to beat them from the perimeter, and they have not shown the ability to do that today.
No basket on the move by Victor Diaz, it happened earlier, so he earned it from the stripe. Only 4 points tonight. He's managed just 1 of 6 from the field. He had 1 3-pointer wiped off the board due to a foul away from the ball. And he does break that 13-0 run and end the turnover.
Now New Zealand back in a man-to-man.
The lob inside for Diaz goes to the left hand. A 3-point opportunity coming.
No weak side help by New Zealand, which is unusual because they are generally pretty alert and help out on plays like that. Careless inbounds pass. And a very nice lob to Diaz. He goes underneath and up.
So 5 quick points on 1 trip for Victor Diaz.
Full court pressure.
And it shaves 5 points off what was an 18-point advantage.
The zone trap.
Beating it with the pass, Rick.
Yeah, and it's designed not only to steal the ball, but to force New Zealand to take time off the shot clock.
It has done that very nicely. And they do get the steal on top of it.
Now make a good decision here. You got some numbers.
Mijares for 3.
That's generally a pretty good decision, except that Venezuela's struggling from the perimeter. Had a wide open 3 from the corner.
Kirk Penny.
He's been quiet today.
Casey Frank with a fake and lays it in.
Nice job. Got the offensive rebound under control, lift fake, and a reverse layup.
4 minutes to go in the third. 8 on the shot clock.
Now, I think with the lineup that Venezuela has on the floor, they got to spread the floor and isolate and go to the hoop.
Beating the shot clock with a 3, Alejandro Barrios.
Lift
Penny,
fake.
nice fake.
There's that lift fake again.
Trying to work Diaz. Puts it in traffic to Mijares. He touched it last. It'll be New Zealand ball.
Tough to thread that pass in there and results in a turnover. Not enough space. Lift fake.
Frank
Lift fake.
goes to the left hand. Very nice.
After a couple of lift fakes, he is very, for a hustle guy and energy guy, he's very poised when he gets the ball in the paint, though, and he's very patient.
Diaz on the baseline, double team. Found Mariaga, who could not control it. Lost it out of bounds. Pablo Machado in for Bayona. Bayona will take a seat on the bench. Quick stint for him. Trying to find somebody up front who can replace Lugo. 16 offensive rebounds to just 5 for Venezuela. Phil Jones hits a 3. Back up to a 17-point game.
Put a little extra arc on that one. And generally, when an outside shooter is struggling, that's one way to get out of that slump, is to shoot the outside shot with a little extra oomph on it.
Victor Diaz starting to heat up a little bit. He's got 9. 2:20 to go in the third. Jones sets up Cameron. Wow, he has had a couple of nice shots from outside tonight. That one was a 3. It's his third 3 of the game.
Well, big guys don't want to go out and play people their size out on the perimeter. So Cameron's had a lot of open looks out there.
Diaz, not this time.
Now, one shot and done with Venezuela, as New Zealand's doing a great job on the boards.
Right in rhythm. Kirk Penny steps into a 3.
In this game right now, 21-point lead is starting to get out of control.
Great bench performance from New Zealand. And the bench for Venezuela, already thin to begin with, is definitely not keeping up with that.
So there, you know, a couple of passes and a quick perimeter shot. New Zealand with the rebound, coming down with some numbers.
Largest lead of the game for New Zealand. Finally got it over 20. Cameron loving that three a little too much, perhaps. But he's hit a few. Victor Diaz the drive. And it'll be a blocking foul on Kirk Penny.
The wisdom of experience. Victor Diaz did not settle for the perimeter jump shot. Put it on the floor. Took it to the basket. Drew the foul.
He's played for them all, the Venezuelan professional teams. I'll just use the three names I like the most. Cocodrilos, Panteras, and Trotamundos. These roll off the tongue. 11 points for Diaz tonight.
Well, I want to see I want to hear all the others now.
It's too many.
Okay. All right, I'll let you off the hook.
Gaiteros. We'll stop there. Penny missing in the lane. Inside a minute to go in the third. Quick ball moving around the perimeter.
And too many outside shots for Venezuela, and I'll say it again, they're not a good perimeter shooting team.
Paul Hanar swings it back on top to Penny. Patience, as always, for New Zealand. They always seem to get a good shot. 7 on the shot clock. Hanar fouled as he went to the basket. That will go against Alejandro Barrios.
You're right on target with the patience, working for the good shot, not settling for the first shot that shows.
Again, Venezuela going to be ruining all those missed free throws. Meanwhile, New Zealand now 17 to 20. Quick math tells me that's 85%. Pretty good.
Well, I can do the other. 12 for 24 for Venezuela.
Yeah. Now 18 of 21. 22-point advantage.
Again, at the end of each quarter, New Zealand has come out in that trapping zone defense, which has been very effective.
A little coaching going on there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Carlos Cedeno, just a couple of points tonight. He's made his only shot from the field. And not the second.
Good hustle, though.
Absolutely.
Good block by Casey Frank.
Mariaga stayed right with it and put it back.
He did.
8 seconds left. Hanar being hounded. Finally gets some freedom, but throws it away. Still time for Venezuela. Cedeno couldn't handle a pass. That was a difficult situation. Machado probably should have just put the ball up on the run. In any event, the third quarter is complete in this third place game of the Super 4 from Argentina. Venezuela been playing from behind all night long. Been down by 20 plus. We'll take a timeout here. Be back with the start of the fourth quarter with New Zealand in control, 75-56.
ESPN brings you the best soccer action in the world. The UEFA Champions League, the most prestigious club event in European football. The FA Cup brings together only the best in England. Italian Serie A, 38 exclusive matches. International friendly soccer, featuring England, Germany and Ireland. European qualifiers, more than 30 games as they prepare for Euro 2008. And ESPN Soccernet Press Box wraps it all with shows on Monday and Friday night. The world's best soccer action, only on ESPN.
They're there. happens when true talent is motivated by sincere pleasure.
Whoa! The backflip!
Man, that was huge.
And the desire to win overcomes the fear of consequence.
Are you kidding me?
She goes for the double backflip.
Unbelievable.
X Games 12, live Friday.
Only on ESPN.
Well, keep it here on ESPN. Just a little bit later on tonight, Argentina and Brazil will battle it out for the crown of 2006 Super 4 champion. We'll have it for you live right here on ESPN. Argentina just looked fabulous last night in their blowout victory over Venezuela, and why shouldn't they look fabulous? They've got a loaded team, and they're so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and they play the game the right way. All over the floor, defensively, moving the ball. They just do so many good things on the floor. It's a pleasure to watch them play.
Of course, any time in any sport that Argentina and Brazil go head-to-head, it's worth watching. A lot of passion will be involved. And, of course, the home crowd in Argentina and Santa Fe will be well behind their home team. Fourth quarter underway. New Zealand, 3-ball for Kirk Penny.
Now, interestingly, Richard Lugo still on the bench for Venezuela. You're down 22 points. You got 9.5 minutes to go in this ball game.
What are you saving him for?
Yeah, exactly. Put him in. Let him play. He might be able to get you back in if he's in for enough minutes. And if he fouls out, you know, you're not going to get back in it without him at this stretch anyway. So you might as well play him.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't do you much good to hold him to the 4-minute mark, because by then it may be a 38-point
right. And you know, the guy's 33 years old. He's got a lot of experience. You would think at this stage of his career he understands how to play with 4 fouls. And if he doesn't, then he belongs on the bench.
Either way, you've lost nothing.
Right.
A great press break right there.
But he's been your most effective player. You got to have him on the floor.
More foul away from the basket, rather away from the ball.
And that absolutely drives coaches crazy. Fouls away from the ball.
It drives announcers crazy too.
Drives you crazy.
20-point game, just about 45 seconds gone in the fourth quarter.
Because I used to do a lot of nasty stuff away from the ball when I played.
And a foul on the rebounding action down low. Casey Frank picking it up. Trying to keep out Barrios. No, actually going to get Barrios for it.
See, but when you do that stuff away from the ball, you got to be smart with it. You can't do it out in the open. You can't do it right in front of the referee.
That's right, not in front of the referee.
Absolutely. Trying to bust through that pick. Machado trying to go through Rampton.
And Machado will take a seat on the bench. 20-point game inside 9 minutes, and still with a warm-up on is Lugo to Machado's right. Kirk Penny left alone off the inbound. Venezuela lives to tell about it. For now. Cedeno tried to find Mariaga, but it was broken up.
Yeah, but he had the layup himself, I think.
Tony Rampton got a hand on it. And rebound to Aaron Olson. Hasn't gotten much run tonight. Pushing it up, running the point.
I think this is his first appearance in this game. He played a little bit more last night.
Frank with a nice up fake and scores. 22-point game.
Well, he has that up fake down pat.
He certainly does.
He uses it every time he gets in the paint, and it's effective every time.
Yep.
Good lesson for younger viewers. In that paint, never hurts to use the up fake.
Victor Diaz battling, had a big size advantage over Paul Hanauer, and Hanauer picks up the foul. 2 minutes gone in the fourth. Cedeno driving the baseline and lost it.
Yep, lost control of the basketball. A deadly sin for a point guard.
Getting a rest now on the bench, Alejandro Barrios. Hebert Bayona is back in. Casey Frank, nice entry for Rampton. 7 on the shot clock. Goes to the turnaround. Can't get the roll.
Another second chance for New Zealand.
Aaron Olsen missing on the 3. Rampton tracks it down. Another offensive rebound for New Zealand, who has dominated the backboards tonight.
And that time I believe it was Mariaga who tipped the ball instead of trying to catch it. You know, the theory is if you can get one hand on the ball, you can get 2 on the ball and catch it.
Rampton missed the 3. Frank is in there battling it again, and he drew the foul from Bayona.
Rampton continues to go to that perimeter shot. And I guess when you're up 20 or so points, you can do that. Casey Frank, the last 2 nights, every time he's been in the ball game, he's made things happen.
Aaron Olsen, little fade off a nice inbound play from underneath.
And Lugo back in the ball game. But I don't think there's enough time, especially if they won't get him the ball in the low block. And he looks like he's willing to settle for the perimeter at this stage of the game.
Under 7 to play. Cedeno, the tough drive. Cuts it to 20. Cedeno's got 5. Kirk Penny bringing it up. Not known as a ball handler. Is known as a shooter, though, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Craig Bradshaw wants the 3. And he's got it. He can't hit that. 15 for Bradshaw. Had 16 and 9 against Brazil last night. On the move, Dickel. No look pass for Bradshaw. Got it off for Penny, who squeezed it up and in.
And once again, the New Zealand player using that lift fake.
Largest lead of the game now, inside 6 minutes to go. It's 25.
And Venezuela settling for the perimeter shot now. First shot that shows.
And a rebound to Bradshaw. Up, threw it away. Victor Diaz taking him to the basket, and the foul down low. Clean block up front, but
A little too much body underneath.
Yep. And Victor Diaz has been doing that about as long as Bradshaw's been on the earth. 38 years old. Tough night shooting the ball. 1 for 7 from three-point range. He is in double digits. He's gotten fouled a few times, gotten some points from the line.
Once again, a lot to ask out of those 38-year-old legs on back-to-back nights.
There was certainly a time when he would have and did take any shot available to him.
And, you know, when you get to that age, Mark, you really have to pick your spots if you're going back-to-back. And that's hard to do at this level against some young guys who like to get up and run.
New Zealand continues to run their sets and get open shots. Aaron Olsen with a 3. .26-point game. Largest lead of the night. Mijares ran into some trouble, but he got fouled. Mark Dickel. picks up the personal.
He went in there and that opening closed in a hurry, and he had nowhere to go and nothing to do with the basketball. And he got bailed out. Of course, Tab Baldwin wants to see that clock continue to move.
Absolutely. Harris cuts ever so slightly into the massive advantage. Bradshaw down low, all the way back out. Dickel will reset. Inside 5 minutes to play. Dickel wide open for three, but gives it up to Bradshaw for the quick release, and he hits.
You're right, Dickel had a wide open shot, and most perimeter players are taking that shot.
And not giving it to a 6'10 guy to take it, that's for sure.
Not a young 6'10 guy either.
Nice move to the baseline, but Bayona could not finish. Rebound to Bradshaw. New Zealand on the run again. Entry down low. Ramped it.
Lift fake. Can't convert.
Bayona the rebound. Nice drive for Cedeno.
He's done that a couple of times. The ability to get into the paint and get to the rim.
Only 4 minutes left. And a 26-point advantage. Been as high as 28. A couple of big numbers getting hung on Venezuela in 2 nights. Well, one time too many for Craig Bradshaw. We're going to leave open the opportunity that someone opened a large door in the arena.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to see a kid like that really work on his inside game. And this is a perfect opportunity to do that. You get into so many bad habits when you're a big guy and you settle for the perimeter. Because settling for the perimeter is too easy, and you want to take the easy way out. And if he can develop that post-up game, and he showed some flashes of it last night. He can develop the post-up game. He could be a legitimate player. He really can. And you know, Lugo could have easily settled for the perimeter jump shot in that play, but yet he put it on the floor and tried to get it inside and wound up getting fouled.
One of 2 for Lugo, 14 points, 8 rebounds on the night.
And of those 14 points, most of them came in the first quarter. 10, I think.
10 in the first quarter.
And that just means that they haven't gotten him the ball in the last 3 quarters as often as they did in the first 8 or 9 minutes.
Because when he got it, he did something with it.
Absolutely.
Only 3.5 minutes left. Venezuela still down 25. Lugo on the drive. Now it's Mijares. Drops it down. Bayona, good spin move.
Nice drop step.
And drew the foul.
Very difficult for a post-up man to turn his head and read where the defense is playing him. He did that very well that time. Understood that Bradshaw was playing him to the middle, and he spun baseline with a good, strong move.
Looking for his first point of the day. And he's got it. Now Nestor Salazar has a tough job as the national team coach for Venezuela. It doesn't appear to be.
Well, the toughest part of that job is finding more talent.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
There's not a lot of young talent that's available in the pipeline. Nothing in between the guys who helped deliver some great results for Venezuela in the 90s. Those guys are now all too old. And there's nothing in between.
got to have the talent.
We'll see if they can develop it in their minors programs. For now, we'll take a timeout in the fourth quarter with New Zealand in control.
Tonight on ESPN, relive all the poker action on the 2005 U.S. Poker Championship. Then test your sports knowledge against these two experts. The 2005 U.S. Poker Championship, and pardon the interruption, only on ESPN tonight.
23 points is the New Zealand lead over Venezuela. It's been as high as 28 just a few moments ago. And somewhat the result we expected, as Venezuela playing without a couple of their key guys. Well, the Super Four's got some ex-NBA players in Ruben Volkovitsky from Argentina, Pepe Sanchez, Alex Garcia from Brazil, Oscar Torres, of course, from Venezuela, and Kirk Penny played a handful of games in the NBA as well. Of course, it's also got some current NBA players, and you will see a bunch of those in tonight's nightcap, the championship game when Argentina takes on Brazil. So South America's presence in the greatest basketball league of them all is continuing to be a factor, although Venezuela have a bit of a lull here. They had Carl Herrera, who was a significant player for a championship team with the Houston Rockets. Oscar Torres played some. There are currently none from Venezuela in the NBA.
And really none on the picture, on the horizon either.
Right. Meanwhile, Argentina just continues to put more and more players in the NBA in significant roles. And Brazil also. And with all that success, more to follow.
Well, you know, if the players have some success, it gets the younger kids interested in playing the game. And that's how you build strong programs. You can build it that way in high school, college, whatever. Minor leagues, if the players on the big team have success, then the kids want to play the game.
Of course, one of the top New Zealand basketball players, not here with the New Zealand team, pretty much deciding not to make a go of it with the national team. Sean Marks has been in the NBA from New Zealand.
First New Zealander in the NBA.
Now coming up on 2 minutes left, 24-point game. Lugo throws inside. Mijares did a great job just to get that one up in traffic. Gets his rebound and sends it back out. Turn around for Lugo. 16 points on the night. Bill Jones has it stripped away, and we've been watching pretty good performances from Craig Bradshaw tonight for New Zealand. Did they have a next possible NBA player there? What do you think? He's going to be a senior at Winthrop, getting better every year, getting some national team experience. What's he ought to do?
Well, as I said earlier, he's got a chance, but he's got to develop the inside game a little bit more, and add a little more bulk. He's got the touch, he's got the shot, the perimeter stuff, but kid that size, you want to see be an inside player first, because he doesn't have the real great quickness, a ball handling ability to put the ball on the floor and get his own shot. Most of his perimeter shots are stepping out, catching, and shooting. But you want to see a guy like that develop an inside game, and then he's a legitimate prospect.
Well, we'll see if he continues that development. Turnover. Here's Bradshaw. Gives it back up to a guard. Good move. Phil Jones. That three won't go. Into the rebound for Lugo. One minute left. Bayona could not hit inside. And up ahead for Bradshaw running the floor. Greg Bradshaw now with 20 points, the leading scorer for New Zealand and the leading scorer in the game.
Missed some time in the game as well with fouls. So his numbers could have been an awful lot better.
26 points the advantage. Never quite got to 30 tonight, but it threatened it at 28 on one occasion.
But, you know, once it got to 17, never in jeopardy.
Yep, that was pretty much it. Bradshaw wants it down low. Got good position. Goes to the hook.
There you go.
They're going to count that hoop, saying it was goaltending on Richard Lugo.
Backed his way down, dropped the shoulder, went right for the rim. Didn't have quite enough lift to get up over the shot blocker. But, and it looked like a pretty good block.
Pyro Winatana scooping it to the basket and puts back his own miss with 2.6 left to get New Zealand to 100. And the 30-point mark as far as a differential, and that'll do it for tonight's third-place game. Venezuela will have to settle for 4 of 4 in the Super 4. And New Zealand picks up a victory in this friendly basketball tournament on the way to the World Championships.
Good solid effort. Good solid effort by New Zealand.
Craig Bradshaw, 22 points to lead everybody. That's it for now from the Super 4. New Zealand beats Venezuela.
Most popular forms of motorsport, and yet most American fans think it only exists in Europe or on their Xbox. Not true. Rally America is alive and well and coming to the X Games.